So Britt not showing up to the reunion showed that she's a coward, right? You popped your shit all season, but you couldn't come and face it. Cool. That's one. But for you, Britt, to sit on Instagram today and post a photo shoot that you paid for wearing the dress that you could have just wore to the reunion, talking about some I'm leaving the show and this is my last. Of course, this is your last season. You were fired. What are you talking about? You sued them. What's up, everybody? Welcome and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. We are here to talk the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 18, the reunion, part 1. If you guys are brand new to the channel or a returning viewer that is not yet subscribed, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I have a goal. I'm trying to get to 45,000 subs by August 1st. I'm at like 43.4, I think, right now. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and then leave your comments down below. So part 1 was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't think that I was going to. I came into it with bad energy because I didn't think it was going to be entertaining. But it was. I enjoyed it. So we start off with seeing the ladies arrive. Everybody's getting their hair done, their makeup done. We see all that type of stuff. We see Porsha is knocked out sleep in her dressing room. So we see Kelly very lamely has her glam team wearing t-shirts that say Kelly's Glam. It fell flat, Kelly. It didn't give what you thought it was going to give, being completely honest with you. We see Phaedra is walking around and Phaedra's, her makeup is on. So she goes to Britt's dressing room. It's completely empty. It's dark. So she goes into Porsha's dressing room. And Portia's still asleep, but she kind of wakes her up and it's like, girl, where's Britt? Britt's not here, whatever the case. So Cynthia comes in and Phaedra, Porsha, and Cynthia, they're trying to contact Britt, and she basically sent Porsha to voicemail. So the reunion was supposed to start taping at 9 a.m. They were supposed to start filming at 9. We see Drew arrive at 10:15. They need to start doing like they did back in the day and start finding them heifers. If y'all can't get here when that call sheet says to get here, find their asses. I bet they find a way to get to work on time. Because why are you coming an hour and 15 minutes after you were supposed to start? So they didn't get started until 11:30. No respect for Andy's time. Like, oh my God. No respect for anybody's time. The camera crew, the PAs, like, that would have irritated me. So Porsha walks out and Shamia looks pissed. And I'm like, okay, I see what type of time y'all are both on right now. So Porsha said that she got her boobs done again. Did she call them Coco and Chanel? And she said they are back to where they need to be. And she wants Andy to smell them. And he said, that's an HR issue. Andy said, oh, no, 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 no. So it was a cute little callback to, I forgot the season number when they did that, same little bit. So Andy said that Shamia went from being a +1 to the one. I made the same face as Porsha. Oh. Oh, okay. So Andy announces that Britt has decided not to join them at the reunion, and everybody is like, oh, okay. Kelly said that she has caused Britt mass destruction in this friend group, and that she has played both victim and villain at the same time. She didn't play victim and villain, okay? She wanted a hug, right? All she wanted was a hug. Kenya didn't hug her. She couldn't trust Angela's hug. She's the victim, right? Like, whatever. So Porsha then said that she talked to Britt last night, actually, and they were talking about how the husbands were coming and all that type of stuff. And not at one moment, not at any point in that conversation, did Britt tell Porsha, yeah, I'm not coming tomorrow. So I guess. So Portia said, I thought she was just running late. Thought she was coming. Drew said that Britt texted her a few weeks ago and let her know that she was suing her, but she has not yet heard from her lawyers. So she's suing Drew allegedly. Allegedly, there are rumors swirling that Kenya got these pictures of Britt from Drew. So after that whole event, I guess Britt is suing Drew because of that. But they maybe we'll get an update at the end of the reunion as to where we are now and if Britt did indeed sue Drew. I feel like we would have known about that. We would have seen court documents or something by now. So Shamia wants to start off with the prayer before the foolishness starts. So Portia said, look, I would like to set the intention, okay? I want us to set the intention to honor who we are as women, okay? And where we are in whatever space we are in. I said, okay, Confucius, like, what is going on, Portia? Let's get to it. Portia feels that she is back to being herself and she wants to step to the plate with each issue, with each lady, with truth. Truth. The way that Shamia wrote her, I was like, Portia, girl, you being extra performative. So they go get Cynthia because that side of the couch is so damn empty. So they get Cynthia to sit next to freaking Frack. And Cynthia talks about how her boyfriend's name is not Amsterdam, it is LaPrince, and he's 39 years old. Cynthia, we don't care. No, ma'am. We don't care. So Portia has the first package. So Portia said that Simon bought the house before they got married. But because of prenup stipulations, it became the marital home. So because of that, Portia won the house in the divorce. She can choose to sell it or keep it, whatever the case. At the time of filming, Portia was in what she called a phantom divorce. She was like, like her. Drew was like, who's she talking? Drew was like, she talking to me? She talking to you, Kelly? Kelly was like, I guess she's talking to me. She's talking to Kelly, okay? So basically, Portia was saying that because Simon was indisposed at the moment that, their divorce was kind of in a standstill. And Andy was like, well, I heard he was detained by ICE. Is that what you heard, Phaedra? Phaedra was like, uh-huh. Uh-huh. So Phaedra clarifies that when you are detained by ICE, you are basically in jail. Portia said that, there were a lot of rumors that people were saying that Portia called ICE on Dennis. And Portia said it does not benefit me for Simon to be detained, and it doesn't. It did not. It was a little kiki at the time, but common sense sets in. It doesn't benefit Portia at all. So Portia said that she does still love Simon, and him being detained is really just making matters worse for her. Shamia said that she asked Portia if she did her research on Simon to make sure that he wasn't a scammer. And Portia's like, yeah, I remember you had that conversation, you and Gerald both. And, you guys were just asking me to make sure that his money is legit, how he's getting it is legit, all of that type of stuff. Portia said that she did do her due deals, and that's the reason that the prenup took almost 9 months, because there was so much stuff they had to comb through. If a prenup takes 9 months, he's hiding something from you, Portia. Why would the prenup take 9 months? So Portia then said that the divorce is because she was put into danger, not physically, but in many other ways. Basically, Portia was in danger of being held liable for some fraud or something. That's what I'm assuming, okay? So Kelly claims that her asking Portia about taking Fallon's husband was out of concern, not her being messy. Kelly, don't sit up here and lie. You said that shit, stand on that shit. You know good and goddamn well that you were not asking out of concern. Because what concern is in a question like that? What concern? Like, Kelly, that was the first thing out of your mouth when it came to Portia. So Portia was like, well, did you ever get your answer? Kelly said, yeah. You said you loved him, but I don't think it's real. So Portia starts to compare her divorce to Kelly's. Porsha wasn't comparing her marriage, she was comparing her divorce. And Kelly was like, no, you can't compare the divorces. I was married for 11 years, you were married for 11 months. So Porsha gets defensive. Okay, well, I guess mine didn't count then. Okay, Andy, let's keep going. No, Porsha, you don't get to get up and run your ass away. Sit and answer these questions. Sit and answer the questions. Get the point out that you were trying to get out. So Portia once again apologizes for what she said about Charles. Angela said that Shamia claimed to have introduced Simon and Portia. Shamia was like, "No, I didn't." We see the flashback to the clip. Shamia did not say in that moment that she did introduce the two of them. Portia then pauses when she's asked, so did Shamia introduce you to? She pauses and was like, what, whatever, no. So it sounds like Shamia did. Or maybe Shamia knew him or something like that. We will never get the full story because both Portia and Shamia are liars. One and the same, okay? So Drew was then asked about how she said that Portia's return was a flop and does she regret it? Drew was like, no, you spent the entire season attacking me. There's so much other stuff to talk about regarding your life, and you chose to spend the season attacking me, which is true. We've all been saying that. We have all been saying that. Portia could have used this season to talk about them sheets that she was trying to sell, to indirectly talk about this divorce. Like, there was so much other shit that Portia could have talked about. But Portia chose to make her entire storyline Drew. She just did. So Portia was like, you need to worry about who's flipping and flopping in the basement with Ralph. Why would she worry about that and they getting a divorce? You can't even deflect right. So Drew was like, Simon says, you had no storyline. Now, while I did chuckle, I said, Drew, how long you been keeping that in the tuck? It was funny though, okay? It was funny because Simon snatched that house and he snatched that storyline because she couldn't film in that house. So Portia said that Dennis is her family. And when you got in the middle of the family, you got in my storyline. That's stupid, Portia. That's stupid. So Portia is then asked if she really thought that Drew was sleeping with Dennis for beats. Portia said, well, Dennis showed me that text of him saying, I'm not going to fuck you. I want my money for the studio. Now, do I believe that Drew was trying to fuck Dennis for some free studio time? I do not. I don't. We're not going to play on Drew like that. We're not going to act as if Drew is not a bona fide, legit recording artist. We're not going to do that. And I feel like, Portia, even now, you are still grasping for straws instead of being held fucking accountable. Like, the shit is so fucking lame. It's lame. So Drew was like, okay, that's that's what you show Ralph, because that's not what Ralph told me he saw. Y'all had two very different accounts. Where's the text? Show me the text. Drew was like, Portia, you look like a fool. I was conducting honest, real business. So then Portia's like, well, the guys will be out here later. The guys will be out here later. And, we can talk about it then. And I'm like, whatever, Portia. Drew said, look, I took accountability, but Portia won't. I was calling you. I was texting you. You knew we were working together. Portia claims that she did not know that, okay? Then she starts to get a little elevated, if you will. And Portia's like, my issue is not the fact that you were working with Dennis. It's the fact that you were filming with Dennis. They filmed one scene initially together. They hadn't even filmed when Portia was going off the handle about working together. So the issue is that they were working together. Or the issue is that you scared that you've been running and popping your shit about all these other ladies, and you scared that Dennis is going to tell that on about everything you said. But when they were legit working, if you were that scared for two people to have a conversation, it means you've been doing some foul shit. Right? So now Shamia is tag teaming in, and I'm like, Shamia, shut up. So Drew tells her, go sit on Portia's lap. I said, shit. So Shamia said, look, all I did was ask if Drew was dating Dennis, and you two, talking about Angela and Drew, you two came at me, and it was very rah-rah. And we see the flashback of the clip. In all honesty, Shamia, you got very defensive. Shamia got overly defensive about that. Literally for no reason, right? Like, if you want to ask the question, you ask the question. But Shamia, you did look guilty. So Shamia was like, well, no, Angela was like, well, I had an issue with it because Porsha said to leave it alone. Cynthia tries to interject. Shut up, Cynthia. You're a friend of. Be quiet. So Shamia was like, well, Porsha doesn't tell me what to do. Porsha throws her under the bus and said, well, I didn't want the question asked. Okay. And I told Shamia I didn't want any part of the stuff that she was even asking. I wanted to keep the focus on us, on them filming. Drew was saying I hadn't filmed with him yet. No, but there was talk about it. I said, oh, Porsha. So Porsha and Shamia are accusing the other of lying. Porsha acknowledges that, yeah, Drew's album is good. I'm never going to front her off about that. The same way that, Drew went on the Breakfast Club and said that Go Naked Hair is not good. And Drew was like, so Portia gets a real question about does she regret how she treated Drew after watching the season back. So she gets up, Portia, and walks over and hugs Drew, and she apologizes for meeting with Ralph. She said that it was just a petty thing to do. So everybody that was in the comments and all over social media, all the Portialettes, okay, what are all the Peach Juice fans that were saying that Portia had no idea Ralph was going to be there. Yes, she did. She's admitting to it now, and she did it to be petty. That's why I never understand why y'all go up for these women on this show. Y'all be doing the most in the comments trying to defend them, all for their asses to embarrass y'all at the reunion. Y'all did all that bumping of the gums, and I remember y'all names in the comments. I can't wait to see if y'all come and apologize to me in the comments, because I told y'all that her ass did it on purpose to be messy. If y'all thought that Portia did not know that Shamia was meeting with Ralph, you're a fucking fool. You're a fool if you actually believe that shit initially. So Portia then said that the situation could have been talked through and that it wasn't right. Drew acknowledges that, you know what, Portia did help her on her first season, and she appreciates her. She wasn't, the wigs weren't wigging. I mean, truth be told, Drew, this one right now, we can see that lace. But she acknowledges that Portia did help her out when she was struggling through some things her first season. So we wrap up Portia's package. Awesome. Let's pan over to Kelly. So Kelly is asked what happened with her and Britt's friendship, because they came in as besties for the resties, and then now, they where they are. Kelly said, look, Britt was going through a rough time, so I extended my team to her, but I did not extend my team to her for the entire season. Here's the thing though, you shouldn't have given her your team at all. If you wanted to gift her some glam, go find another glam team to gift her. You should have never given her your glam team in the first place. You should have never done that, okay? So Kelly then said that while she did pay the people, they say you ain't pay her, but Kelly said that she did pay the people and that Britt did pay for the people when she wanted to use them as well. So let Kelly tell it. Everybody got paid, okay? Portia said, well, Britt said that there might have been some jealousy. Kelly said, let's get one thing clear. There is nothing that Britt has that I would ever want. I said, oh. Yikes. So Portia said that Britt told her that Shamia, Britt, and Kelly were an alliance that were put together to take Portia down. I said, oh God. So in Grenada, Britt realized that she was kicked out of the alliance when Kelly came at her for only donating the $250. So Shamia said there was an alliance, yes, but it was Britt, Kelly, me, and Portia. Portia said, oh, I wasn't a part of the alliance. I knew nothing about that. And Shamia is like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Everybody's lying just to be lying, and it's honestly annoying because we will never get the truth about majority of this stuff. So Portia said that alliances kill shows. And I would never be a part of an alliance. Oh, Portia, cut the bullshit. So Portia and Shamia are both being shady towards each other. And I'm like, why don't we just skip to their package so they can cuss and scream at each other, and then we can get on with everything else. So Kelly said that she was being a good friend and not an enabler to Britt whenever she would co-sign her mess. No, you were enabling her. And you were okay with enabling her and being her, for all intents and purposes, being Britt's lapdog until her shit turned around and was on you. Then you didn't want to deal with it anymore. Angela said, I didn't know allegiances were reformed. Now, Angela, you heard them saying alliance. Why did you say allegiance? That pissed me off because, are you not paying attention? My God. So Angela said that she is disappointed that Kelly did not try to get to know her for her because of Britt. And Kelly said, no, that had nothing to do with Britt. We just didn't get that chance to connect. So Andy's messy ass was like, well, how come Angela wasn't in the alliance? She's a newbie. And they was like, Angela and Drew had their Chi-Town connection, Chicago girls. So we then pan to the last conversation that Kelly and Britt had, the argument about the termination of pregnancy. And Kelly was like, well, for one, me and Britt never talked about that. That is a conversation that I had with somebody in private that was misconstrued and repeated back incorrectly to Britt by way of my stylist, the stylist that Britt now uses. So Kelly said that, after her twins, they had that bone, was it like a bone disease or something that they had? Right after that, she got her tubes tied. So that would have never been possible anyways. But now, because of what is aired on TV and that is probably reverberated, throughout the streets of Atlanta, she is now going to have a conversation with her young children about what an abortion is, which is unfortunate. It's something that they're going to learn, but as young as some of those, some of her kids are, they shouldn't have to have that conversation. And that's what I mean. Like, y'all go on here, y'all just be saying shit for the hell of it. So Kelly is now fully divorced. She spent roughly $200,000 on that divorce. So Andy asks, are you guys shocked? Or do you ever wonder why Kelly always has a bodyguard? And Porsha was like, no, we know both reasons. The one reason is, her ex-husband. And then the other reason is that I heard he's not even after you. You just doing it for show. I said, oh, shit. So Kelly was like, this got me. Kelly said in true Porsha voice, who told you that? I was like, here's the thing. Kelly and Britt stayed quoting Housewives like real fans, or I guess half-ass fans. Girl, who told you that? You know that's not the line. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? That's the line. Oh, Kelly, I was with Porsha. That's not the voice. Oh my God, that was funny. So then Kelly was like, well, here's the thing. You can't just file a restraining order because you're not getting along with the person. Phaedra was like, you can. You can. So Phaedra explains that you can file a restraining order for any reason that you want. And if the other person, the respondent party does not show up and contest it, you'll be granted the restraining order. I have friends that have filed restraining orders on people. That's true. If the other person doesn't show up, you'll get a temporary restraining order. Phaedra is a lawyer. As ignorant as she can act, she says she's a lawyer. She knows what she's talking about. So Kelly then says that if anyone thinks that she would rather pay Kenny than her bills, then you were absolutely crazy. Well, you would rather pay to dye your dog pink than to pay your bills. So there's that. So there's a fan question about Kelly's expenses and how she bought her daughter all those expensive bags at the beginning of the season, and she's getting her dog painted pink and all this other type of stuff. Andy said, I think you should invest in the waffles and not the dog. Jesus. So Kelly said that the restaurant is coming. Andy was like, when? I want to try the waffles. And that's when Porsha was like, joggers. September, spring, summer. Like, Lord, Sheree, Jesus. Sheree ends up being the butt of the joke, even on seasons she's not on. And Sheree's slow ass is probably at home like, yeah, they thinking about me. They thinking about me. Kelly does not think that she will ever be friends with Britt again, and who cares? Okay, so then we pan over to Angela. So Angela said that she was certain it was Phaedra that sent Marcus to that event. Remember, Marcus is that guy that was like, if your name's Angela, your husband's cheating on you, that weirdo. So this is what Kelly is saying, or excuse me, Angela is saying. That because Marcus has an aunt named Kelly that went to school with Phaedra's oldest brother. Okay, my graduating class, there were like 363 of us. So what? I went to school with 362 other people. That don't mean that I still know them and I'm still cool with them. My brothers, I don't even know how big my older brother's graduating class was. That doesn't mean that I know somebody in his graduating class from high school. That was weird, Angela. So Phaedra was like, I don't know this woman. I don't know what you're talking about. So Angela was like, this is a pattern of lying. She put out that yellow folder with all these random, probably high school yearbook pages in there. And Angela is like, well, initially Marcus tried to pin it on other women. And everybody is like, yeah. So Angela said that Phaedra is trying to secure her spot. As much as we know, as much as Phaedra gets on our nerves, and a lot of us have not forgiven Phaedra for what she did, Phaedra don't need to secure shit off the back of you. Like, let's get some fucking perspective about ourselves. You can't possibly think, Angela, that Phaedra needs to do something to you to stay on the show. Phaedra said, my contract is guaranteed. You see, and Andy did not contest. And Andy turned and was like, and that's where we end part one. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I honestly did enjoy it. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.